Okay, welcome to this explainer. Think about a paradise, a place with beautiful mountains and stunning scenery. Now, what if I told you it was on the verge of literally disappearing? That's the crisis unfolding in Himachal Pradesh right now, and we're going to dig into why this isn't some natural disaster, but actually a man-made catastrophe. And look, this isn't a warning from some activist group. This is coming from the highest court in India. Just a few months back, the Supreme Court dropped this bombshell of a statement. It's a huge, flashing red alarm bell for the entire region, and it really sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about. So, when you think of Himachal, what comes to mind? For most of us, it's those picture-perfect postcards, right? Snow-capped peaks, green valleys. But the reality on the ground, especially when the monsoons hit, is turning into something else entirely. We're talking floods, landslides, and just widespread destruction. Now, it is so easy to see this on the news and just call them natural disasters. But here's the single most important point we need to understand. They're not really natural. They are the direct and honestly predictable result of human actions. We basically built this problem ourselves. So, how in the world does a paradise become a disaster zone? Well, let's break it down. We're going to look at the key human factors that are literally taking apart this fragile ecosystem piece by piece. First up, urbanization that's just completely out of control. Let's take Shimla, for example. The city was originally designed to hold about 25,000 people. Any guesses what it is today? Around 250,000. That is a tenfold increase. You can just imagine the unbearable strain that puts on the mountains. That 10 times number is huge, so keep it in mind as we keep going. This timeline, wow, it tells such a tragic story. So, in 2017, there's a ban on building in sensitive areas. Makes sense. But just a year later, a town planner, Shail Bala, was actually murdered for trying to enforce that very law. And then, believe it or not, by 2022, a new plan comes out that allows construction right back in those exact same forbidden zones. All right, another key point for you to lock in from that timeline. And the cost of these decisions in the real world, it's just staggering. In just one recent monsoon season, more than 400 people died. Over 1,000 homes were just gone. And the toll on animals was absolutely catastrophic. These aren't just numbers. These are families and lives completely wiped out. It's a really tough number to hear, but it's so important to remember. And it's not just construction. The forests are being gutted. During the floods, the rivers were literally filled with floating logs. It was such a common sight that it reminded people of scenes from that action movie Pushpa, which is all about illegal logging. That just tells you the scale of the problem. But get this, even the legal projects, like dams and new roads, are clearing huge areas of forest. And those cleared areas, they become perfect fuel for fires, which, by the way, hit an 18-year high in 2024. Let's see if you caught that movie reference. Okay, so as if all these local issues weren't bad enough, you have two massive outside forces that are just pouring gasoline on the fire. First, climate change. And this isn't some abstract future threat. It is happening right now. Just look at this. On a single day back in 2015, one district got 20 times its normal rainfall. 20 times. That's not just rain, that's a full-on deluge. And it's becoming the new normal. Remember that absolutely insane rainfall number? The second force is over-tourism. It's a total paradox. Of course, tourists bring in money, which is fantastic for the local economy in the short term. But the sheer number of people is just overwhelming the ecosystem. They're leaving behind literal mountains of garbage and contributing to the very destruction that's going to make the place unlivable one day. So, where is all of this going? We are now getting dangerously close to what scientists call a tipping point, a point where the damage could actually become permanent, irreversible. And, the real irony here is that all this destruction is often justified in the name of economic growth. But just look at the financial mess. Across several states, these recent events caused damage worth more than 15,000 crores. Himachal's slice of that pie was over 4,000 crores. That's not growth. That's a cycle of building something up just to watch it get destroyed with a massive net loss. That's a critical number to really grasp the scale of the financial hit. And this is where things get truly scary. Scientists are warning that we've kicked off something called a positive feedback loop. Basically, it's a vicious cycle that just feeds on itself, causing a situation to spiral out of control exponentially. Here is a perfect and terrifying example of one of those loops. So bright white snow reflects the sun's heat, right? It keeps the mountains cool. But as that snow melts, it exposes the darker ground underneath. That dark ground absorbs way more heat, which then melts the snow around it even faster. See? It's a vicious cycle where warming just creates more warming.
So, do you remember the name for that really dangerous cycle?
The end result of these feedback loops is, well, it's almost unimaginable. The current projection is that by the year 2100, 80% of the Himalayan glaciers will be gone. Gone. These are the glaciers that are the lifeblood for rivers all across Asia.
And our last question for you is about that absolutely devastating forecast.
When you put all this data together, all the warnings, all the disasters, it really just boils down to one simple but profound question. Ultimately, this is what it all comes down to. What is our priority? Is it short-term profits, or is it a sustainable future? The sources we've looked at suggest that if we can just be honest about that answer, the right way forward becomes pretty clear.
And that's it for this explainer. So how did you do on the questions? Go ahead and post your answers in the comments below. Let's see who can get a perfect score.
Thanks so much for joining us to get a handle on this really critical issue. We really hope this was a valuable breakdown for you. We'll be back next week with a new explainer on another important topic. See you then.